Hey guys, how you doing? Gary here from Demigods. I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I wanted to show you how I generally work in a project and how I work towards building a French house track, for example. I'm going to get straight in there. I've got this project open at the moment. It's going to be a remix for another song, or more of a rework. When I do remixes, I tend to hardly listen to the original at all and take one little snippet of it and turn it into something as original as I can. So having said that, the first thing I'm going to show you is the sample that I found that I'm going to be using, which is going to run throughout it. Let's give that a quick listen. So this is it in its original form. Alright, and I've just I've sped it up. Let's get the tempo back to what I was working with. There's a nice kind of melodic little snippet there, so you can see it's Lee Ritenour Roadrunner, an early 80s track there. Right, let's zoom out. Now, I'm not the tidiest when it comes to Ableton. You can see I've got stuff all over the place here, but I try and make it colourful. I added a lot of effects to that sample. In fact, this is overkill, right? This is what I do. I get carried away. I've split it into three ways of hard panned left and right, and brought a little bit of the center back in, EQ'd it, put a bit of a flanger on it, compressed it, and then sidechain compressed it to a kick. Okay, so now it sounds like this. Oh no, let's go and find it. Sounds like this. Okay, so I kind of like the fact that it's not quite dead 4/4. Well, you can put a 4/4 beat to it, but it's got a nice triplet feel, a swing feel to the sample there. So yeah, this is how it sounds. And I've just put some big beats on it. And of course I had to put a bass line on. For my bass, I quite often use Trillion. I like Trillion. It's a Spectrasonics software synth. Just really good quality straight off the bat. You don't really have to do too much tweaking to it. Compress slightly, and then again with the old sidechain. In fact, what I do is, I haven't here. That's supposed to be switched on. Is enable the high pass filter and then bring the frequency down to about 100. So the bass is only going to be dipped by the compressor below that frequency range, so it's not completely squitching it up. Okay. Let's put the bass on. This is way off being finished. It really needs to be mastered. It needs to be mixed a hell of a lot better. I need to go through it bit by bit. The snare is really a bit too much, isn't it? Yeah. Do you know what? I sampled this kick and snare from, I think they sound really good, and I didn't really touch them. Straight from a record from another one, Bites the Dust by Queen. Found the perfect little bit where they were on their own and just snuck them out and reordered them a little bit, and made a little fill and stuff. Let's just listen to that on its own. The kick is just so well recorded. It's lovely. Okay, I've just put a little bit of Slate Digital, a bit of virtual tape saturation, and then also the virtual mix rack. I tell you what, the Slate Digital plugins I really like, especially this the custom series lift, just for doing exactly what it says on the tin, really lifting the highs, punching in some deep lows. Really makes a big difference actually. If I just turn those off and play just the kick on its own there, then I'm going to bring in the tape. See, I like what the tape. I put a lot of tape plugins onto various, almost everything actually. Well, it depends, but because it just kind of softens the edges a little bit. Because sometimes, you know, when all the digital stuff, it's just really clippy at the top, really a little bit too bright, a bit too harsh, and you don't want things to sound so crisp and shiny and fake, really. So using a nice tape plugin really softens it all up a little bit. Anyway, and let's bring that lift on. Yeah, punch. And with the snare. Now I've got that tape on the snare as well. Oh no, I've got the mix rack. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to paste that exact same. I thought I'd done that actually. I really thought I'd done that. See the snare, right? It softens the crispiness of the snare that little bit. Okay, so I don't really know where I'm going with this tutorial. To be honest, I've turned the camera on and I thought I'd just show you how I work as I go, just to give you a little bit of an insight how I put these tracks together. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you want me to particularly focus on. So with the sample, let's solo that again. Oh, I've got some more percussion. So I've got an extra clap on the kick here, which is spread out wide. I just find it complements a snare really well if I put those two together. Got the lovely separation of the clap going out wide there. Let's go back to the kit. Just a very simple offbeat hi-hat from the very good Gold Baby 808 tape sample pack. Really nice quality samples on that one. And you can probably hear the little bit of percussion, which is actually from that same sample pack, the Gold Baby one. Now you can see I freeze a lot of my tracks. That's because I've got a MacBook Pro, but it's a 2011, and although I've souped it up as best I can, I've put in an SSD drive, which makes a huge difference. That's been brilliant. Although I've souped it up, I've got the maxed out with the RAM as well, although I don't know how much difference that's made. It's the processor. I really do feel it's just a 2 gigahertz. It's a quad core one. I think it's one of the early i7 chips, but I don't know, it struggles now. And the plugins like the Slate and Waves, and what else do I use regularly? I can't think right now, but Fab Filter, Sound Toys, all these plugins, they take up so much CPU, and so I find myself having to freeze almost every track I'm not currently working on. And in a way, you know, it stops you from tweaking things constantly all the time, which I think is important. But yeah, the process of freezing and unfreezing things, if you do have to make a change, is pretty laborious. So I do need a new computer, probably an iMac. What do you guys use? Let me know, because I'd be interested to know, have you moved from a PC to a Mac, or a laptop to a desktop? I'm thinking of going from this MacBook Pro 2011 to a new iMac with like a 3 gigahertz or more processor, and I'm wondering, I think that CPU is gonna help with that, combined with a SSD. I think is probably the best thing to do anyway. So, and that's the other thing as well, you're working on, I got the master channel here. I can't have any of this on, because if I have any of this on, listen to the hiss, right? It's not good for when I'm doing videos, so I've left that off. Now I'd be interested to know as well, do you, I tend to have a little bit of light mastering, like it's just a gentle bus compression, and just a really simple limiter is good to have when you're actually mixing, when you're putting these tracks together like this, because I feel, I know people say that you should leave that till the end, but I feel that if you're already getting it to a stage where you feel it sounds pretty good, it's kind of just encourages you to keep going. Let's listen to the whole thing. I've got a bit of the vocal as well. Did you hear my computer just struggle? That is a constant issue. I just tried to switch on about 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 plugins there at once, and the computer just went. It's a killer, isn't it? But then you think, well, what do I do? Do I just, spunk $2,000 that I haven't got on a new computer? So it's a difficult thing. You got to decide what's best, I suppose. But yeah, so what I'm going to do actually is, because this has just been a bit of a random video, just showing you, just dipping a toe in really to my creative process, I suppose, and how I work. What I will do is I'll start from scratch, and I'll do a bigger video or a series of videos where I put these kinds of tracks together bit by bit. And I'll probably split them into the instruments. So I'll start off with the drums, which I normally do, or a sample, or maybe a synth line, because believe it or not, sometimes I do actually play the instruments. I can play the keys a little bit. Not so. It's my dog snoring there. Sorry about that. He's called Vinny. So yeah, I will do another video, a series of videos. I'll break it into drums, then bass, and I'll show you how to do the arrangement, what works well with transitions. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm promising a lot. Well, I've said it now, so I've got to do it. So watch this space. I'll be starting that very soon. And maybe for next week, I'll do a quick 2-minute tip, just to keep you going. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe. I do these every week. Catch you on the next video. Cheers.